In Path of Exile's 3.26 expansion, the Settlers of Kalguur League mechanic went core. King's March is now a part of the core game, but the building process is gone for good. However, unlike in the past when League mechanics have either gone into the core game or not, we didn't get the usual post before the patch notes to indicate which parts of it were going core, especially in regards to unique items. In fact, even in the 3.26 patch notes there was no mention of the Settlers exclusive unique items such as Svarlin. But now that we're actually able to play the update, it appears that all of the King's March exclusive uniques have gone into the core game. All of them except for one, Serle's Masterwork. This unique mace was themed around one part of King's March that didn't go core, the runesmithing enchantments. Now personally, I would have been a big fan of this unique staying in the game and having it spawn with random enchantments as a shipping reward. That way you could potentially loot a build enabling unique with a crazy combination of enchantments, but alas, this item is no more, and instead another unique weapon has replaced this one as a reward for shipping goods to one of the Kalguuran ports, that being Ribbonfell, Pondium or Kalguur. And you may have completely missed this new unique, because this was an entirely undocumented change in the patch notes, and this item doesn't appear on PoEDB's page for new uniques in 3.26. Cadigan's Authority is a new Unique Sceptre which is all about totems, and this item has a very interesting design because in a way it completely turns the concept of a typical totem build on its head and forces you to build in a completely different way. So firstly, there's some flat local physical damage here. You're unlikely to be using this weapon in an attack build, but this damage may be important for another modifier, Battlemage, which is a fairly rare keystone-like modifier that makes your main hand weapon damage be gained as added spell damage. So using this item in your main hand, you'll be gaining this weapon's physical damage as added damage to your spells. But notably, this is a scepter, and it's used in one hand, so you can utilise this in your offhand if you want to. That way you can benefit from Battlemage's added spell damage based on a weapon with much higher flat damage in your main hand. A good example of that is Rebuke of the Vow, which has a huge amount of flat damage of various types. Okay, up next is +3 to 5 to maximum number of summoned totems. Now this is just a ridiculous amount of maximum totems gained from a single item. All of the global maximum totem modifiers only provide a single additional totem, for example Ancestral Bond or the Hierophant's Pursuit of Faith. You can get 2 or more maximum totems on skills such as Searing Bond, but these modifiers only affect that skill. However, as crazy as 5 maximum totems sounds, we'll come back to this one in just a moment, because there's another modifier to balance this one out. You cannot have more than 2 totems of the same type. Remember when I mentioned that this item completely changes how you build totems? This is what I was referring to. A totem build will normally have a single damaging totem which is scaled by obtaining as many maximum totems as possible, usually that being 4 or 6 if you're also using multiple totem support. And those 4 or 6 totems are all using the same skill. The only time that other totems are used alongside the main totem is, for example, to gain damage via the Hierophant's Ritual of Awakening by using Searing Bond's extra totem limit. The Searing Bond totems in this case don't really deal any damage of their own, they are simply there to provide more damage scaling for the main totems. There's also the rare occasion where you may wish to utilise decoy totems defensively alongside your main totems, but other than that, you typically only invest into a single totem and try to get as many of them as possible. But this scepter allows you to summon a maximum of 2 totems of the same type, which forces you to use several damage totems. So how would you go about that? I think ideally you're going to want to run 2 different totems in your body armor 6-link, similar to old cold dot builds that would essentially run a double 5-link in their body armor 6-link, with 2 skills that can benefit from each support gem. For example, Holy Flame Totem and Shockwave Totem, both of which scale physical damage and can benefit from conversion. But even this is awkward. One is a projectile skill while the other deals area damage. One has partial conversion, the other one has none. And this will mean that there are an extremely limited number of support gems that you can utilise that can benefit both totem skills in that link. Something that I haven't tested is whether transfigured gems count as the same type of totem. For example, is Holy Flame Totem the same type as Holy Flame Totem of Ire? I would expect that they are both Holy Flame Totems and therefore they count towards the same limit of 2 totems. But I haven't tested this in game, so I can't confirm. Now, one thing that this unique is going to do, no matter how you go about it, is push your sockets to their limit. There's going to be extreme socket pressure in a build using this item. On a max roll of 5 additional totems, you're going to be using at least your main 6 link and 1 4 link just on totem skills. You may even end up using your 6 link and multiple 4 links, or you could even make use of a hungry loop for an extra totem link. But how many maximum totems is too many maximum totems in regards to Cadigan's authority? I want to discuss this for a moment, the idea that this Unique Sceptre devalues other sources of maximum totems, and at the same time provides a platform for non-Hierophant or non-Ascendant totem builds. For example, Ancestral Bond provides 1/5 of the maximum totems you gain from this unique, and still comes with the drawback of preventing you from dealing damage yourself. Now, you're unlikely to be dealing damage yourself in this type of build, but considering Cadigan's authority can provide 5 maximum totems on a max roll, that would mean that you already have a limit of 6 totems, which means you already have the capacity to utilise the max limit of 2 totems per totem type for 3 different totems. And this is without factoring in the likes of Searing Bond or multiple totem support, which come with their own added maximum totem limit. So realistically, do you actually need to invest into even more maximum totems beyond just this modifier on this unique item? Well, there's the case for 1 extra maximum totem to make use of Decoy Totem defensively, but I say that beyond that, it's unlikely that you can even utilise those extra totems to good effect. For example, if you were to choose a Hierophant with Pursuit of Faith, and you also took Ancestral Bond and used a Shaper Shield with +1 maximum summon totems like any other totem build, you'd end up with 9 maximum totems. 9 totems, without factoring in any extra coming in from Searing Bond or multiple totem support. Can you even utilise that limit to good effect? And at which point would you just be better off with a standard totem setup focusing on a single skill? Now, with that said, Ritual of Awakening is of course extremely strong if you push your limit up to that extent. If you can somehow maintain that many different totems at once, you'll be gaining a lot of damage scaling and recovery from this node. However, I actually think that the real power of Cadigan's authority is the potential for a non-Hierophant or Ascendant Hierophant totem build. Normally, it feels really bad to even consider a totem build on a different Ascendancy because you lose a huge amount of power from not picking up that extra maximum totem from those Ascendancies. But, as I just mentioned, because you gain so many maximum totems from this item, and because its drawback of only being able to summon 2 totems of each totem type, this massively devalues other sources of maximum totems, and so other Ascendancies become an option. You also have a decent amount of increased totem placement speed gained from this unique too, a stat which isn't too common and is another reason why Hierophant totem builds excel so much and feel great to play. Up to 70% increased totem placement speed is going to feel really nice on a different Ascendancy. So, what options are there? There's the Inquisitor with the crit branch for scaling from strength and intelligence, and the elemental resistance bypass, which is especially nice early on in build progression. The Inquisitor also has the consecrated ground branch for recovery and a bit of extra damage, nice to help keep your totems alive, and there's also Augury of Penitence there as well, once again nice for some extra damage and helping to keep your totems alive, making them take a bit less elemental damage. Another interesting option is the Berserker because of the existence of Ravenous Passion, which makes Rage grant more spell damage instead of more attack damage. You may need an extra source of rage generation to maintain your stacks, but Crave the Slaughter does improve the rage loss window from 2 seconds to 4 seconds, so the rage gain from mana spent may be enough. And if you are able to solve the life recovery from Rite of Ruin, you can gain a ridiculous amount of damage from this Ascendancy with Rage and Aspect of Carnage combined. And you can also make use of the new MIDI Defiance of Destiny on the Defy Pain notable as well. Certainly a very off-meta option, but an interesting one nonetheless. There's also the newly revitalized Elementalist, though I'm not sure you'll have enough sockets for your totems if you're also making use of golems, but perhaps you can make it work. The Trickster is there too for some very generic scaling. You can make that work with just about anything. And there's even things like the Ranger Ascendancies there if you want to be really hipster. And there are just a decent amount of Ascendancies overall that could make a totem build work alongside Cadigan's Authority. And really, I just wanted to make a video covering this unique because I found it so interesting. And I look forward to seeing what people will build with it in this league and in the future. But what do you think about Cadigan's Authority? Perhaps you didn't even know it existed. Let me know by commenting below. And thank you for watching this video. As always, stay tuned and stay safe.